Hey, what's up, guys? It's the cool dude here, and welcome to another episode of Logo Evolution. And today, I'm going to be doing another Logo Evolution on, get this, Studio Ghibli, or, well, formerly known as TopCraft. Studio Ghibli Inc., formerly known as TopCraft, is a animation production company funded, though it traces back to 1972. By former toy animation producer, excuse me if I mispronounce, Toru Hara, under of course, the TopCraft name. And they were known for production of, excuse me if I mispronounce these, Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind, doing hand-drawn animation for, of course, Reagan Bass. They filed for bankruptcy in 1984, due to the expensive production costs of said movie. It resulted most of the animators to create a new company called Pacific Animation Corporation. First was sold to Disney, and they would be renamed to Walt Disney Japan in 1988 and then dissolved in 2004. And then the animation staff had another studio called the Answer Studio Co. Limited. While the non-animation studio moved to Disney's Japanese branch. Though during the bankruptcy, Hayao Miyazaki, known for Lupin III, Toshio Sakui, excuse me if I mispronounce these names, and Isao Takahata, something like that. Again, excuse me if I mispronounce these. It's just, But rights from World Film Corporation, the film's international distributor in all territories outside of Asia, to release the film in the U.S. via New World Pictures in '85, but heavily edited. And because of that, Miyazaki, excuse me if I mispronounce that, just in case, imposed a no-cuts policy for all their later films, which led to many of Ghibli's works being ended up released in several Asian territories, including Hong Kong, for the rest of the decade. Oh yeah, speaking of which, they it was officially established in '84, and to of course this name being called Studio Ghibli. In '93, Troma via 50th Street Films, weird, released My Neighbor Totoro in the US using a streamlined Takama dub. Excuse me if I mispronounced this. Produced in 1989. In 1996, a year after Mason's worldwide rights to Nausicaa, something like that. Again, excuse me if I mispronounce. Takahata in the Walt Disney Studios, basically struck a deal with Studio Ghibli, though being the first, which is, of course, Princess Mononoke. Released by Disney, at the time subsidiary Miramax Films, who is currently owned by Paramount, and of course Paramount doesn't hold rights to this movie, only GKIDS. So yeah. Though they had to wait until 1999 due to obvious reasons. Though beginning with Spirited Away, Ghibli worked with Wild Bunch International to handle global sales is gonna get too long. Basically, Wild Bunch, handled, certain sales for their future works. In 2017, Disney stopped distributing them. GKIDS decided to distribute them. You can now watch those on Netflix internationally and HBO Max, currently known as Max, in the US. Studio Ghibli is actually best known for Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, and, of course, Mononoke. And, of course, other movies. But we're only here for their logos, starting with the first one. There's no footage, there's no information on that, so The logo, I'm just going to call it the TopCraft text. And it was in use from 1972 to its closing in 1984. It's just there's literally no, of course, footage of this. I can't find a single footage of that. This is all I got. And then, well, we get to Studio Ghibli with this one. And now we get to, of course, Studio Ghibli. With this one, it's actually just a text, so it technically counts as a logo. Kind of, but yeah. It's called the text, and it was used from 1985, that's all I know, to, well, 1988 with the release of My Neighbor Totoro. Speaking of the Totoro, it's just a text. Like, I can't find any information because one, they don't really list this as a logo, because usually they do list, I'm not even kidding, some of these things as logos. So, yeah. Like, for example, the United Plankton, created by Stephen Hillenberg, is actually a credit, but technically it counts as a logo, but it just looks like a credit. So, yeah. The only good thing about this is it's on My Neighbor Totoro. And speaking of My Neighbor Totoro, we now go on to the next actual logo of Studio Ghibli, and that is My Neighbor Totoro, and it's been in use since 1991. The original version would have, a dark blue variant. It was seen from the release of Only Yesterday in 1991 to actually it was last used in, well, 99. In 2001, with the release of course, the best movie, Spirited Away, the logo would be light blue. This would, you guessed it, be one of the most common logo of all time. So common, you see this on older releases by, well, not only Disney, but GKIDS. I have a red variant. It was seen in a 2016 movie, The Red Turtle. Even though this logo is a still image, and because, well, since usually I don't really like, still images because of how boring it can be, I kind of like this logo. Especially that, of course, it has a Totoro on it from one of the best movies of all time, even though the English version kind of sucked. Though, thanks to the Disney version, it was good. Well, My Neighbor Totoro. It became one of the best movies of all time. Speaking of the best movies of all time, the biggest movie that I associate them with, especially this logo, is Spirited Away, and, of course, Howl's Moving Castle, one of the best movies of all time. So, yeah. And that is actually about it. Please, Avid, even though I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, please, update your logo. Well, not really your logo, but please update your website. And please, watch more Ghibli movies. Just saying. I don't want to be rude, I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me, but come on. Please. But yeah. Without further ado, I'm going to end this video right here, and remember, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified for my latest videos. See ya, and bye.